What's going on, bullshippers? Welcome back. I'm back. The boys are back. Everyone's back. Things are back to normal. Good to see you all. I've got a couple of guests with me on chat. I've got Jess. Say hello, Jess.
What's up, guys?
And I've got Polly there as well. How are you doing, Polly?
Good, good. Hello from the future.
Yeah, indeed. Yes, it's already tomorrow where you are, isn't it?
Yep.
So, well, it is compared to where I am. Yeah, it was supposed to be 8 o'clock, but I had one or two technical issues because I haven't streamed for such a long time. I forgot what I was doing in terms of setting it up. Completely buggered up OBS and had to repair it. But we're here now. How are volumes? Is everything okay volumes-wise? Hopefully we're fine. Let's go through, have a quick roll call. We've got Johnny, first one in chat. Well, good evening to you, Johnny. Jess, obviously he's here in my ears as well as out there in chatland. Philip Shaw, Groove, Blaze Beard, Mojo, welcome to the live stream. Andy K and Philip Shaw, Severance and Hinker. Shout out to all you beautiful people. Shout out to you, Hinker. Andrew, happy birthday. Thought I was going to be late, but got into... No, we're late, Andrew. That's normal, or that's how I like to roll, isn't it?
It wouldn't be a classic Martin stream if there wasn't any technical issues.
Yeah, no, it's one of my trademarks. That has a few technical issues. We've got Chris M in there, Martini, and Mr. Anderson. What's up, Mr. Anderson? Roy for the win as well. What's up, Martin and everyone? All good, my friend. Andrew, truth, Truth, JP. Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, we're back. And we are going to talk tech tree. So, I suppose I'll get my ugly mug off the screen and we'll get the tech tree up and we'll begin the chat. So, guys, what is this an actual BBTFRG stream or am I hallucinating? Chris M coming in there with his 5-month flex. No, it is an actual stream, Fez, and there will be more to follow this season. I promise you. The kind of issues that have prevented me from streaming for the last 2 months, they're not resolved, but they're kind of, life's a little bit more predictable now. So, Apex, did you? Oh, there you are, in between Mr. Anderson and Mr. Anderson. I'm sorry, really sorry. We've got the one and only Apex Prey in the chat as well. Welcome to the live stream, Apex. Will Aaron join? I believe so. I believe he'll be along at some point in time. Not sure when. I think he's out on the road at the moment. I'm stalling to see whether he pings up in chat, but there's no sign of him there at the moment. So I think he may be watching on his phone while he's out, but not sure. Got a robot to do the chicken parmesan and stream a little bit more, mate. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. So yeah, I'm gonna do a bit more this season in terms of streaming. I won't do the first day because obviously so many others do the first day, but I will be there for your second day entertainment. I'll be there on Tuesday, and then we'll kind of go resubscribe, says Apex. Thank you. If you don't think you can, then you won't. Simple as that. No, I'm pretty confident that I'll be able to do more this season. Like I said, that there have been. I mean, I know a lot of you know what's been going on, and if you do, great. But I'm not going to kind of go into any huge details. But yeah, things have settled down a little bit. So there is lots of fist bumping. Not you, mate. I was talking about fair enough. So, boys. Obviously, you've the tech tree's been out for sort of well over 24 hours now. You've had a chance to look at it. What do you two think, Polly? What's your first thoughts? Polly? Oh no, he is there.
Yeah. Hang on. Well, just remember, I'm trying to work here at the same time.
Yeah, no. If you're busy, then I'll jump over to Jess and see what you know.
Yeah, maybe get Jess. Jess first.
Yeah, I'll go first. Initially, scanning through the first part of the tree, like Stoneheart, myself, and you do typically, is that we don't really pay attention too much to the back half of the season. We're really just kind of focused on 3 or the beginning of 4 ER, because that's where we're going to be for the first couple days. So initially, to to me, I think it's get to the critter launcher, and then you have kind of like pivot points. You can go to Zuka if you need to. You can keep going to Spark and 4, or you can go Sky Shield. I think that's a real first decision point in the season, and probably something we'll discuss kind of at nauseum today is, what to do day one at that critter launcher spot.
Yeah, I think that that's a fair assessment. I think when I first saw the tree, obviously warriors and heavies there jump out, and you kind of look at the warrior path because they're infinitely quicker across the ground, but maybe the support isn't quite there for them. Maybe the decks are going to be a little bit dirty with defense as well. Quick shout out to Mike Wells and Passy, Tiago Rookie, who have also popped along since we've been talking. So shout out to you guys. Thanks for joining me.
So on my thoughts, I mean, it's great that Supercell put Zedmot's deck layouts in. I mean, it's been, I think it was 6 seasons in a row that we seem to have the same decks. So so that's great. It's definitely, I believe it's definitely going to change the mindset of how people attack, and it does sort of create the multiple metas to be useful. So yeah, I also sort of believe and a lot of the join our own risk guys looked at the critter launchers and them being the first pivot point, want to get to them ASAP. A little bit of talking about getting the proto node, also a few pros and cons with that, but definitely definitely does look like it's a great tree, and it's going to be very interesting how these layouts are going to change the thoughts of I mean, pretty much everyone. It's been a while since we've had decks like this, so yeah, as opposed to having the typical heavy rush, I'm glad they did switch out Sparky for Brick. I believe I saw that in Zedmot's video. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited for this season.
Yeah, I think another things that you don't really notice initially, but that are big things, is that we don't have TD until really late. And that GBE early on is the only GBE until the end as well. Even though everything comes out at 100, you really only get some of it at the beginning, and you kind of have to wait till the very end to get everything else for it to all kind of even out.
Yeah, that TD late is going to be very interesting. Just want to give a quick shout out to Mr. Boom, Ben CR250, Mr. Poing, Scully, who's joined us as well. Welcome, Scully. Congratulations on your Warrior push. Didn't catch the end of it because I was having a few issues here with OBS. You know how OBS can be. But, it's Lolo in the chat as well. Welcome to the live stream. Thanks for joining us. ASDFG as well. Apex pointing out that
I'm going to shout out. I don't even know how to say Ron Zacapa moments, but we all know that is McLovin. So shout out to McLovin. Welcome.
Yeah, definitely McLovin too. So yeah, so the path that I've mapped there on screen seems to be the general consensus of everyone as far as a starting path. Obviously there is a path there with warriors. And I'm sure Scully will be taking that on one of his OPS loves to make our lives easy. Yeah, you're right there. I'm sure Scully will be taking that warrior path on one of his accounts, but I think on the whole, the most if you want to jump on, Scully, jump on. We're in the BBTFRG Discord room. Can't pass this up. So, yeah, like I said, this seems to be the most popular path. There is another... let me just apply that, and we can change colour there. There is another option, of course, of going through rifles and missing out on the flares. that would be another way round. And then obviously, like the boys have already said, I think critter launchers, and then it's going to be a decision: do we get the proto node? Do we get Zukas? Do we push on to Sparky? Do we come back for mortars? There's plenty of options there. You know, once you're at critter launchers, and you can see where you go. 2ER warriors, yeah.
The real problem with warriors and, in my opinion, rifles is that if you go in those directions, then you're missing out on tech that everybody else gets naturally. And so it almost naturally puts you at a disadvantage. Yes, you'll get the smoke, the med kits, and the warriors, but then you won't get the machine guns and the flamethrowers. So it naturally sets you back. You know, even though you're moving forward, you're still not getting the stuff that everybody else is getting naturally, and that's the disadvantage with it.
So, you're talking about the machine guns and the flamethrowers here primarily, that you're going to have to come back. I mean, it's 38 keys, which is 2 chests. You know, you're going to be, it's going to put you 16 hours behind other people that have pushed on, and I think the one thing that we can all agree. Lolo just asking, where did you finish last season? I finished 24.5 was my highest finish, so I'll be starting 14. But I've got other accounts that finished lower. I was going to say, I think this is the point at which we're kind of all trying to get to as quickly as possible. The building health. I think that's going to be the first real kind of big push point after the first day. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think most people will be in 4ER before the end of day 1, just because 3ER is so short this season. Normally kind of 3ER is drawn out, but this season I think we'll all probably be in 4 by the end of day 1.
Yeah, I think that I think you need 16 for, if you take this path that we're on here, 16 will get you 4ER by the end of day 1. Is that right?
For 16 and your first time chest, I think, if you don't get the proto.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think a rank 14 can get to 4ER and building health. So 3 chests into the season. So I look at that as day 1 complete. So start of day 2 really.
Yeah.
So that just means if you get to rank 15 and rank 16, you can be there ASAP pretty much.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. So, I mean, obviously you mentioned a minute ago about decks, so I was going to kind of call up the decks and we'll have a little look. Not been saved, no. So that's the 2ER deck, which I think if you're there with warriors or heavies, it's going to be sort of straightforward warrior rush or heavy rush. As Scully pointed out, warriors at 2ER. Thank you very much, I think was his. Was his quote. I can't find it now, but yeah, I think warriors at 2ER is absolutely going to destroy 2ER. But then I think most of us will be heading for 3, and 3 makes it really interesting with this little corridor up the right hand side here. Obviously, when we took the pictures for the sneak peeks and what have you, I laid out the ERs where I thought they might be, certainly on the earlier decks, and I think that's what you'll see a lot of, with 1 up the right and then 2, and probably just a cluster of defences in this area with the 2 ERs stuck in the middle. But time will tell. I said to somebody earlier, I've always felt that the tree and the troops kind of have a symbiotic relationship, that they go together well. And for the first season, this season, I'm not so sure whether either heavies or warriors are going to work exceedingly well on these decks. They're going to work, don't get me wrong, but normally at 3ER you'd be seeing times of sort of like 3:10 on the first day. I don't think that's going to happen. I think 2.5 minutes is going to be a good time for these bases, because
almost should have been an aerial season. The decks look like it should have been
Yeah,
like an
yeah.
aerial season,
But
like 100 TD, 50 BH, HCs at the beginning kind of season.
if we draw a line across the deck there, you can see that this ER here, is like it's 3/4 of the way back on the deck. So
Yeah.
just to even just to rush it with 3 or 4 boats of heavies, you're probably going to be looking at, I don't know, probably a minute to get up there, get it killed, and get back down and around to get on to rushing these two.
Yes and no. I think this is where you need to be creative with your hits.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no secret that if you drop your troops on the right and you sort of flare that ER, and once the flare runs out, majority of those heavies that are up in front will probably go to that ER and get that killed, and then the rest of them that are falling behind will go to the left. That's where it's.
When the flare runs out, you've got a line of troops across here, sort of thing, and then when the flare runs out, there'll be a split. There'll be a split through the middle there, with these guys kind of coming around this way, and these guys pushing on up here. You mean?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it all depends. It all does depend on how the deck layouts are. I think, it's going to be sort of give or take. See if obviously, if they're going to be lined up with defenses over there on the right hand side, it's not going to work. But then it just gives the option of people getting to Zukas, which I think is a big talking point because of the troop health that is after it. So if you're going to line up that whole right side with defenses and people have Zukas, they're just going to drop two heavies and 2 Zukas, and they'll just continue to walk up there.
Yeah.
So then you're going to drop the rest of your troops on the left. So it does make for a very interesting start of the season, I think. No matter what troops you sort of use, I think it's going to be a very good opening season.
Yeah, I'll just see Scully's to put a point in there. It'll be fun. Sacrifice of going Warriors is that you have smoke and medkit tools to manage the machine guns and flamethrowers. But Jess is right. Don't take this path, guys. The majority will go bottom path. So yeah, the top path is a fun path. And those Warriors, they will be fun. They'll be fun for a couple of days. But I think even Scully knows that it's going to push the account that he goes Warriors with. It'll be entertaining. Those streams will be lots of fun, but it will push that account back a little bit. So that account at 4ER, 5ER will be slightly behind whichever one he pushes.
Just like last season.
Yeah.
Just for example, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we all unlocked heavies and thought, man, we're going to heavy rush out the gate. Same exact D as this season, except we don't have boom cannons, but we do have boom mines. Everybody thought it was going to be a heavy rush meta, and then immediately 10 minutes into the season, everybody switches to mechs, and we're mech rushing. Heavies died immediately, but they nerfed the critter launchers. And that's a big deal.
Yeah, I think that's going to make a large difference in early game meta. I think last season we saw that in late game meta, critter launchers didn't matter that much. They were spread out. The lasers pretty much took care of them. But in early game meta, 3 critter launchers pumping out 1 critter every second. So that's three critters a second on deck. It made it difficult. Obviously now they're going to be a lot slower coming out. You're only going to get 3 critters on deck every 2 seconds. That's even going to give time for a bunch of heavies to kill them. So I think that's going to make a massive difference. But so what do you think about the 3ER deck compared with the 4ER deck? Obviously, we kind of gain this portion at the back here, but we also gain this second ramp. And I think that this second ramp is going to be huge in terms of the hits.
You've really worked on your painting skills, eh?
Yeah, no, thanks.
Picasso.
Yeah.
I think
I was thinking more like
think,
Dali actually, but
well, I think early 4ER is going to be very interesting because the whole mechanics behind dropping troops is the even though there is a gap in between the decks, if a person does have a defense or an ER, right on that top right corner of that middle section of the 2ER deck sort of thing.
so you mean kind
and
of
you
like
drop
here?
Troops. Yep. So yeah, so if you're going to drop on P2 and there's a defense or something there, your troops are going to automatically go all the way around to go for that ER or that defense as opposed to going to the right. So it's going to be, again, I think early 4ER is going to be very fun sort of thing as opposed to just because of that.
I mean, if you
Zukas can cover gaps too.
Well, yeah, I mean, Zukas can shoot that gap, but if you get that position right, maybe 2 or 3 tiles over, then any defenses, as long as you keep everything over this side in this box here, anything landed on this ramp is, like you said, it's going to come and target this and then going to come on round. So you're going to have to get rid of what's here before anyone starts pushing up that way.
Yeah, but then there's the old, again, doing a split flare sort of thing and just flaring a defense, dropping the troops that you want to go on the right, flaring a defense, and then they're just going to continue to walk up. And I think that's where Zukas are going to be good for that because the heavies are going to be in front, and then the Zukas are going to be the ones that are going to be killing the things at the back. But I can see why a lot of people are probably hesitant about getting Zukas. I mean, it could just be the old heavy rush again.
Sorry, Mr. PR7 saying, can Zukas hit that ER? If you're talking about this one here, which I'm assuming, that there, I think it's a 4 or 5 tile gap. So obviously Zukas have is it a 9 tile range or a 7 tile range? 9 tile range, isn't it?
9. I think it's 9.
You would probably get a group of Zukas, maybe a boat of Zukas, 13 Zukas into this little corner here that would fire across at this corner of that ER. Technically, if you don't put an ER there and you put, for example, a cannon or a sniper tower, and then you put the ER next to the sniper tower, so the Zuka is going to get the sniper tower, but it's not going to go for the ER. But probably will target the ER next because it's the next thing.
Well, yeah, but I think it will be too far away from it. So, and then it could just eventually start going down the path. So yeah, I think it's going to be one of those things that, as we all know, it will be very interesting to watch your opponent's replays as opposed to your own replays because moving a defense or an ER one tile to the left, to the right, up is going to probably change the path of most of the troops. So it's going to trap a lot of players as well. So, but that's where I think the flare is huge this season. I know there was a bit of talk about skipping flare and just going rifles with that troop health.
So let me just bung back to the tree. Now we've had a chance to have a look at the
lots of split flares and delayed drops this season, especially with the 2 ramps. People are gonna learn how to split flare, delayed drop, and flare defenses instead of ground flares. It's gonna be a great catch up for a lot of people on how to properly use flares. Also, just a PSA, just please don't upgrade your flare to like tick 4, tick 5. Like, if you don't need it, don't upgrade it any more than you need it because you might actually need a tick 2 or tick 3 flare later on, and you've already upgraded it to tick 4 at the beginning. So just be careful with that,
Let's-
because
yeah.
sometimes the short flare is a better flare.
So let's just very quickly, I'm just going to do this. I mean, I'm sure most of you have already seen the decks for this season, but there's deck 4, the one we've touched on. There's deck 5. So then that kind of just, so we've kind of gained this, all of this kind of extension here, which joins the 2 portions up. That's deck 5. 6ER deck again just expands that space that we had and reduces the gaps, and then 7 just takes that corner out and just gives you more space again. Obviously there's now gaps that bombardiers can shoot over. There's gaps that rocket choppers and heavy choppers can take advantage of at 6 and 7ER. So like the boys said at the start of all of this, it makes it a lot more interesting than just one big flat open deck with a variety of ramps open. Hey, look what's just turned up in chat, eh?
Oh, here we go.
What's up, dude? How you doing?
Just 3 noobs talking about warships.
Yeah. So for those of you that haven't seen the decks, that's the deck: 7ER, 6ER, 5ER, 4ER, 3ER, and 2ER. So let's get back to the tree. Oh, that's a bit too zoomed in. About 70, somewhere around there. That's nice. So yeah, like I say, at 3ER, you've got warriors, you've got heavies, and riflemen and Zookas to play with. So yeah, I think there could be some creative hits, especially like you say with those split ramps, and then obviously into 4. You'll be fighting with those same troops pretty much all the way through 4 until we get to this section, which is kind of like a bit like last season. All 3 sort of powerhouse troops, the high DPS stuff, all in a line. I guess most will be heading for bombers. Would you say, Jess?
I think all 3 are viable. I think there's some people that will be able to be extremely aggressive with rocket choppers, and they'll find a way to make it work. Then I think there's people that'll succeed with bombers, because they can drop, a bomber on the far left, bomber on the far right, and then on the other deck, and then just kind of let them spread out. I don't think lasers will be overly effective. I think you and I mentioned it, but I think if lasers are used this season, it'll be more of a 2 heavy choppers, 2 lasers, the rest bombers. You just put the lasers in there to kind of speed up the hit, but have a majority of bombers. But yeah, I think RCs will be great short term, probably for some people, and then bombers will probably end up being there at the end.
Yeah, that's fair assessment. I think that the bombers and the lasers will work well together, because obviously the bombers will spread nicely. They've got a high DPS. The lasers will be there just to pop those. They take care of those critters from the critter launcher very efficiently. So a boat of lasers in there may do great things. Polly, you see things slightly differently though, don't you?
Yes. So I believe Axe Darby just became a member. I thought he was already a member. But
I thought he already was as well. But yeah, welcome to the Cool Kids Club, Axe.
So I'll do your job for you, man. Reading chat. Okay. So,
I haven't had the notification in my ear yet. That's why I hadn't glanced down.
So I see
there it goes.
I do see things a slight bit different. I'm looking at the tree and thinking that I will not be unlocking diddles on a few things. So I enjoy using RCs, and when I say I enjoy, it makes the hit so much more fun when you can RC a base. And I believe that there's enough tools available for an RC player. So I'm looking at going Zookas to start off with, and having the option to go get the troop health, the 100 troop health, but I won't be getting that straight away. And then getting RCs and then going back for the GBE node. So, I don't think RCs will be effective without the GBE node. And then basically going into 5 before getting the Scorchers, I'll be getting Critters and just full-on rocket choppering all the way up until heavy choppers. Now, I say this, but if for whatever instance I'm starting to fizzle with RCs, with all that stuff, I'll probably go back for the 100 troop health as opposed to picking up the diddles, and then just rocket chopper the way through, because I don't want to be doing split flares and all this jazz and, having to watch, 3 different areas of my screen to make sure my diddles are alive, especially with rocket launchers and stuff like that. So, and the, RCs can definitely fly over the gaps. So, yeah, I see them being a very effective troop. I see the point I'm trying to make about not getting the diddles is 36 keys for a troop. It is a lot. That's not on path. And getting the Zookas to unlock that troop health only means that, I'm not using Zookas as a key vacuum, as opposed to when people that have diddles and haven't gotten the Zookas. Obviously you're not going to be using Zookas, but I'll be using Zookas from the start. So then I get the troop health, and I don't see that as a key vacuum. So that's my take on it. I don't know if it's going to be as effective without the troop damage. I think only time will tell.
Yeah, I think obviously not having the troop damage with it is going to be a big thing. Having said that, this is the natural path, which means these, which are rocket choppers nemesis, are probably going to be somewhat rare on people's bases. Obviously, if everyone thinks the same and they all go rocket choppers, then everyone's going to pivot back to the boom cannons. But if everyone's thinking bombers, lasers, then perhaps they might not be so keen on picking up the boom cannons straight away. So I think having them on that dead end node kind of makes rocket choppers certainly viable for a little while.
The biggest part on the rocket choppers, besides the troop damage, like I'll use them and I could probably be really successful with it. I know Pete could because he's aggressive. Polly, there's certain people that are just really good with rocket choppers. I like to think I'm a really good rocket chopper player as well. The only issue that I see with it is the troop damage, like Polly mentioned, and also because of all the gaps, which make RCs an asset, also make them a liability, because that kind of meat shield or Sparky or whoever you would have as a meat shield, whether it's heavy, Sparky, or whatever, it's harder for them to come with you across those gaps. Yeah. And that's the only difference in that for me. But I think they'll be a big part of the game for the middle part of the season. I just think it'll end up probably being bombers at the end.
You're going to be relying massively on these and these for making your rocket chopper hit viable, which means you're going to need plenty of that. Which you've said you've already covered all of that in your plan, in your planned route. So you're looking at going from 4ER through building health, rocket launchers straight to rocket choppers, and then coming back for the GBE.
Yeah. I honestly think it's one of those things that it's like it's one of those things that it's going to be sort of trying to figure out how bases evolve. I mean, I recall, I think it was 2 seasons ago, that RCs were on like bottom path, and then the top path had the boom cannons. So
Yep.
I think that was the season that we all had to get critters and stuff, seekers, sorry, with the cryo bomb. I think it's one of those things that it's for me, myself, I personally think getting the RCs and then sort of assessing where we're at. I mean, if it does become an RC meta, I'll probably be getting the GBE and boom cannons or vice versa. So, because
one thing I'd noticed about this season is there doesn't seem to be too many token drains in this sort of first half of the tree. You know, there's a million tokens there. There's a million tokens there. A million tokens on the GBE if you pick it up, and a million tokens there. The rest of it, I mean, obviously the rocket launchers are dirty expensive, but we know how to upgrade those. So, you know, that'll be tick 3 straight off the bat, and we won't worry about tick 4 or tick 5 until we're kind of up the other side of TD and into 5 and 6 ER, I expect. There's no absurd amounts of building damage, and with sort of 50 and 100 troop health available, I don't see there being any real benefit to getting max rocket launchers early. You're just going to be denying yourself tokens that could be spent using maxing flamethrowers, machine guns, cannons, mortars if you pick them up, the troop health and the other nodes. So I don't think we're going to be particularly starved of tokens early season this season.
Well, I think, and we've touched on it, you know, in previous seasons, on a season that you can get, everyone is getting rocket launchers. If you manage to have enough tokens to go at least tick 4 when you open them, you might make it extremely difficult for the players haven't, you know, they've put tokens somewhere else. So
I just think there's a lot of troop health available. You know,
yeah, I agree.
The other thing, of course, that we haven't, you know, you have got a DA2 here. I know most people are probably going to opt for the Sky Shield, but if we're not I mean, the Sky Shield will be good to defend against rocket chopper hits for sure. But if people are using bombers and lasers, then maybe the damage amp would be more beneficial than the Sky Shield in the early stages. You know, come the end meta, I'm sure everyone will be switching to that Sky Shield because I'm pretty sure it's the only one in the tree.
I think so. Max RLs depends on whether or not people are playing Zukas. If people are playing heavy steel or even grins or whatever, and Zukas aren't the main troop, then I think max RLs aren't as useful. But if people are still playing Zukas, then I could see something where max RLs are beneficial because RLs are, you know, a nemesis to Zukas. But I think it just depends on how the first day shakes out, whether or not, you know, if mortars are viable or max RLs are viable, like really needed, because it depends on if we end up using Zukas or not.
We've got Ahmed El Said Ali Hafez in the chat as well. What's up, my friend? I just wanted to stab at saying your name, and I hope I haven't made a complete pig's ear of it.
I was just going to say, you could have just said Ahmed.
I know, but I wanted to go at it. All right. So beyond 5, I'm not going to go into it in too much detail, but beyond 5, do we kind of think that that's the natural path to take? You know, yes, one of these protos might be nice, but they are only all level 1, so maybe not. Art would be good, but again, it's kind of stuck all the way out of the way. Shock mines can be picked up after 6 ER, so there's no real need to come round. Bullet, it's probably only the Seeker Gods that are going to be going for Bullet. And then you've got...
I don't think anybody will be running Seekers this season. Maybe a few, but I mean, after that 100 B8...
I think the Gods will be.
I mean, but...
your Seeker gods will be, and then obviously the mechs. I don't see there being a job for mechs this season. Mechs seem to be an early season meta rather than a late season meta. I mean, if they were on path and we were forced to get them, then maybe they could be used for their stunning abilities. Rohit, what's up, my friend? But yeah, I think to come that far off path for mechs, there's no need for them. So I think that shock launchers TD and 6, just to kind of skim over and get to the end of the tree to finish the tree off. Obviously, by this stage, you've got Sparky. Some will have picked up Kavan. Some will be eyeing up Kavan. So I don't see it being worth jumping off path to get Brick. And then obviously onto this node here. And this is something that I think a lot of people will be grateful for at 6ER, is a couple of extra mines on the deck.
Honestly,
I think that 36 keys is an absolute bargain. I should have my face cam on at the moment, shouldn't I, really? I can't keep a straight face anymore.
You saw my face. Just the utter disappointment of seeing.
What a waste of a node that is. When you think of
two key vacuums after 6ER, it's like you're saving up for 6ER, but you're not just saving up for 6ER. You may as well just, ideally, when you're looking at that sort of thing, you want to be safe in diamond.
70,
to be honest,
that is 72. That 72 keys. It's a day in diamond.
Yep.
That is just a waste of a day of warships. Do you know what? I'd rather they took those 2 nodes out and ended the season a day early.
Yeah,
because it's a waste.
But see, I do like the if the Cryoneer, like a key vacuum after an EI is always good because it sort of gives you that sort of perspective of, okay, do I go to that 6ER? Is it going to be enough of a push point? Just the decks alone. But see, then it's like a lot of players sometimes go, oh man, I'm not going to be able to hold diamond. Do I need to go back and get some tech to get me back there? So it's like they look at it and they're like, okay, everyone's got a sky shield or something like that. I need to go back for it. Whereas if someone's safe in diamond, they're going to be like, you know what, I'm just going to park it up for 2 days. I think it's actually 3 days and go forward.
Who in the name of Satan's bumhole thought that was the right node to put there? I'm not being funny, but if that node had
balancing, that if you asked them, they'd say it was for balancing. But
who sat on the other side of the seesaw? Humpty Dumpty?
Oh. Well, no, I'm just saying that.
I know.
Excuse would be balanced.
But what I don't get is, I mean, we haven't touched on the multi-nodes this season, but they're all a bit lame. Multi-node 1, 2 machine guns, 1 cannon, 1 sniper tower. Multi-node 2, 1 flamethrower, 1 sniper tower, 1 mortar. That's an for me.
26 keys for an extra defense is like not worth it.
For my mind, that there should have been the waste of time mine node. And then you could have put something a bit more interesting in here, in terms of in terms of another, a more interesting mine node, maybe something with a cannon or a boom cannon on it, or I don't know.
That's the problem you run into when they switch the deck layouts. Even though I'm all for new, creative, fun deck layouts, like. You know me, Martin. I've been screaming for it for like 10 seasons now. It's the one thing that just puts me into a depression, how like horrible the decks are. But they made decks for this season based on this tree, and then they changed them at the last minute. And so the balancing with the tree and the decks they already had is how they had it. And then you switch it up, and so now it kind of might be a little wonky, whereas it might have made more sense with the previous decks, even though I doubt it. I'm just trying to hope and see a silver lining in what Supercell might have been thinking. But yeah, it just
Just want to highlight Rohit's comment there. Warrior players are going to dominate at the beginning, I think. Easy gold, but will struggle later. Yeah, and I agree with you. I think those that go Warriors will fly to gold, but I think that their progress will get stopped very quickly as the bases get dirtier and dirtier. And then, like you said, is it really worth it? You know, they got to get gold and then make sure they're keeping gold.
I don't know. I think Warrior players are fizzling. If Heavy Rush is going to fizzle, I mean, I guess with smoke they'll survive. But I mean, you got to think all the green mines, red mines, critter launchers. Like it's going to be pretty dirty. Plus, they got to travel a nice amount.
Yeah, no,
I think that the 100 troop health is the one thing that it's going to put. It's like if you commit to the Warriors, are you getting that 100 troop health?
Well, let's just whiz back to the start. I think. You know,
obviously, back for machine guns.
The Warriors' path is this. They're going to need the flare.
Yeah, 100%.
They're going to need the shock. They're also going to need the GBE. Then by then, bases will be dirty enough to warrant them getting the troop health. Now they're picking up the Zukas, which are a key vacuum for them. And they still haven't come back for these two nodes here.
Yeah.
They haven't picked up the Sky Shield or the proto defense down there. I'm not very good at that part of the circle. They haven't picked up that 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 defense down there, and we're not even beginning at looking at 65, 107, 130. So it's 131 keys before they get to building health.
Yeah,
having had to pick all that extra up.
Well, they're getting GBE abilities that will actually help them out no matter what troop they use in the future. Smoke and medkit is a big thing, as opposed to getting 18 keys for medics. So I can see it. Like, if I was to face a Warrior player that doesn't have machine guns and flames, I'm
heavy rushing their asses.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and it's going to be like, you want to make and honestly, I think the fact that there's nothing to actually clear mines or clear a path for the Warriors is going to be the problem, because it's just going to be like you're just going to put like a stack of mines and then you're going to just put 6 mines around your ER and the Warriors are probably going to fizzle. But they've got the med kit there.
Just want to say hello to Frank in the chat. I've been listening intently to the dialogue so far up until Satan's bumhole. That broke my concentration. We got Mr. Minstrel sighting in the chat as well. What's up, Pete? How you doing? Amir in there as well. What's up, Yo-Yo and Digger? Fritz, Mr. Fritzely's adventure. Fritzelli, isn't it? That's Grenz, isn't it? Fritzelli.
That's Grenz.
Yeah. I always make that mistake. What's up, guys? Rohit says,
you guys leave a like on the stream.
Oh yeah, like, subscribe, and all that YouTube nonsense that I always forget to do, because I only really care about entertaining you lot and being somewhat mildly, possibly informative. But all that nonsense, the YouTube stuff. Don't forget that. Cabin Boy, what's up? Yeah. So I think whilst Warriors, have got, they're going to have a part to play at the beginning for some. I just think that in the long run, they will hold you back. And if you're going to be pushing hard and pushing for diamond, then they're probably not the right troop to start with. But if you want to enjoy the season and have a good laugh with some entertaining troops, then definitely Warriors. And obviously, I think, Scully will almost certainly do one account with Warriors, and we'll see some probably quite inventive hits from Scully with the Warriors.
Just real quick, wanted to give a shout out to Newbie. He's been making some amazing content the past 2 seasons. His warships content and the way he thinks about warships is just on another level. He's in the chat, so just wanted to give him a shout out.
What's up, Newbie?
And amazing new content creator. Warriors, I think, will be fun for an hour or two, and then probably just painful. But I think Heavy Rush might be viable. So I'd probably suggest people play at least get a couple chests with heavies to see how they're feeling with them before even going for Zooks, just in case they are viable.
So I think just to kind of finish out the tree before we go back and kind of have a sort of sum up the beginning, I think that heavy choppers, obviously we've all got to get seekers, and then it's a choice of this, the multi-node shock launchers, rocket launchers, or critter launchers, which we will all had to unlock already. So you'll have that choice of which one of those you want, or going through barrage to building health 2 before on to 7. And then obviously 7, we're going to want all of these goodies down here. And they've been good enough to put another mine node in the middle rather than putting it at the end. So if you want both the decent or the very best proto, which would probably be the Doom Cannon 3 there right at the bottom, you're going to have to go through that mine node, which makes the tree pretty expensive this year. Mr. Anderson, hey Jess, I'm going to reach out to you guys for advice. Yeah, we'll be here when we can. So yeah, I think the tree this season is quite a dear one. There are several key vacuums, like we said, 72 here, 46 over here, 36 on the Scorchers. There are a lot of key vacuums there. Another 22.
I think it's interesting the lack of proto nodes.
Well, when I was doing the calculator, building the calculator, and that I had to do a double take because there are actually 6 multi nodes this time, and only 4 proto nodes, which I don't know whether that was an oversight by Supercell or whether that was deliberate. You can only assume and hope that all of these little changes in nuance, like the statues this season, for example, you normally have something that just outweighs something else. But this season, everything's 100. Everything's a flat 100 this season.
Yep.
So, again...
I don't mind the lack of protos, to be honest, because it would be nice for my diamonds. Not swapping out protos seems to be my acquired taste every season. So
I think the swapping one will be this one here. I think Sky Shield and Damage Amp. But other than that, there's not really. I mean, this one here you probably won't pick up until you've completed the tree. I'm pretty sure that this one here. I
can ban you for that.
What's that?
No, newbie's done an autocorrect, and then I know Pete's just going to be running with that name now.
Pollington. Oh, I like that. I'm going to change the stream title, the screen description now to Pollington.
Please don't.
Martin, are you streaming this season? Yes, I will be, Rohit. I said at the start of the stream that the things that have prevented me from streaming the last couple of seasons have all kind of settled down, and life has returned to some degree of normality. So yeah, you can't ban me from my own channel, says Pete. So yeah, I will be streaming. I can see 4 max rocket launchers amped in the middle of the gap just being nasty. Well, you could potentially have 5 maxed rocket launchers under a Sky Shield.
Here's the thing that the thing that I think we're all forgetting is if we're still going to be using Sparky, Sparky's critters are going to cause distraction enough for the RLs, and we all know that once an RL locks onto something, they're going to just keep on shooting that thing, and then by then you've got enough stuff to manage.
Does it not
Another
seem...
thing?
Sorry, does it not seem though that node that seems to now be a regular occurrence every season, everyone goes for the 3rd shock launcher rather than the 5th rocket launcher?
Yes and no. I think it really does depend on
what the meta is.
Yeah, and a degree to what the deck layouts are as well. You know, the last few seasons when we've had that great big vast expanse of space where you can build a perimeter base and stuff the big defenses in the middle.
I think you would need 2 RLs to equal 1 shock launcher. So going forward, Supercell,
Yeah,
if it's 1 shock launcher, it needs to be 2 RLs so that there's at least an option, in my
yeah.
opinion, because it's not much of a thought
I
process.
think we got a Falcor sighting in the chat, but I'm not reading his name out because it's all political and stuff, and I don't do that. Yeah, so that node could also be another one that gets swapped out, but that, you know, that's a long way down the line. That's you know, we're talking 2.5 weeks away before we're kind of at that stage. So we wrong one. That's the one we want. Back down here, please. So
I
yeah,
also think there'll be a resurgence in compact bases this season, just because they nerfed lasers a little bit, but with the 100-100, it kind of balances them out some. So I think people will try to attempt compact bases this season if they can. I mean, it's not really viable with all the gaps and stuff like that, but somebody will try it.
yeah. I think the other thing as well is that every let me just skip back over there. One deck, 2 decks. Sorry, 2 ramps, 2 ramps, 2 ramps, 2 ramps. So everything's got 2 ramps. This is the only deck that probably has enough space for a cluster, a cluster up the back here, isn't it?
What deck are you looking at?
That's the 7 ER deck. I mean, the 6
Oh,
ER.
I think people might do a back compact at 3 ER once they get all the D. Do a back compact with 1 ER to the far right, and then damage amp in the middle at 3 ER.
So kind of
Tell
have
people to come heavy rush it.
everything in here
Yeah.
with maybe 1 or 2 defenses guarding that ER. Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe even if not a damage amp, a sky shield in the middle, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, but more than likely it'll probably be a perimeter base that gets troops to go to the left, even though you need them to go to the right.
I think that you know, that with the creativity that these deck layouts have, that thanks to Zedmar, I think that you're going to see some really kind of sort of strange and bizarre bases and layouts going on. Just looking at this 5ER one, it's, you know, it's routes and paths all over the place, isn't there? That troops could end up taking. Maybe this one could kind of build that. You'll see some kind of cluster base in this space here. Hard to know. But yeah, so as far as the tree goes, the start I think we're fairly confident the start is going to be heavies, push up to that critter launcher, see how the metas are developing, and make your decision where you go from there. Then on to 4ER and building health. I think that's kind of like the first couple of days, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the biggest thing this season is going to be how we all react to not having troop damage, no matter what troops we use, because I believe that's going to actually be very noticeable very early, and especially once we get the building health. Yeah, it's gonna make for a very interesting season.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good job we've got all of these creators that are going to be putting out all sorts of different hits and metas. Yeah, no, Mr. Poing there, no quick hits. No, I don't think you're going to see any sub 1 even warriors. I would be surprised to see them putting in sub 1 minute hits outside of the first hour. Possibly in that first hour, whilst people are still just, you might see a few, but
I think that it's going to be kind of gnarly. The last time that we had this season that everybody hated, we only had the 50 TH, but we also didn't have much TD. The season where a lot of people quit, I think we didn't have TD early on that one. And I think it's very noticeable once we get kind of deeper and deeper, more D. I think people will really notice that TD and the 50 GB until the end. It'll be noticeable.
Gren's there saying sub 1 minute hits out is a good thing. No, I absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. When you're playing early season and you do it in 55 and they do it in 54, and the next hit you do in 53 and someone else does in 52, and then you get a 49-second smash and grab and they manage to do it in 45. It's just so demoralizing that you're getting quicker, everyone else is getting quicker. So I think that
I'm just going to say this. It was very demoralizing last season when half the community went to go out. No. When half the community goes and gets Grens, and you're trying to skillfully clear their base, and then you just see someone just rocking all Grens, and you're just like, oh, here we go. And it's like, they get your whole base down in 10, with 10 seconds left, and it's just like, oh yeah, there's 10 stars gone.
Yeah, I might have had a hand in creating that problem, and I apologize.
You might have had a hand in creating it. I think you were solely responsible, my friend.
And that's the banter that we have. All of us at Join Our Own Risk were just like effing sugar ship, and it was just like that was it. And then
I saw it. I took the risk, and I mean, it got me there early. I was there like Wednesday night in Diamond, and I was like, And then I made the video or whatever, and several people followed. But yeah, I mean, I even hate facing Grins players. So I mean, you can ask Martin. That's all I ever complain about a lot of the time.
That and the 70-yard
facing
deck.
Grins players.
But, there was no worse feeling of, you almost got that last DR and you just fizzled because, of a critter launcher and stuff like that. And it's just like, you're like, well, hopefully this guy fizzles, and you just see them literally unloading 6 boats of Grens, 2 medics and brick. And it's just like, here we go.
Love, put the kettle on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grens 101 in the chat. I won't have a bad word said about Grens. No, I mean,
I made them work. They
don't get much love any season, do they? But certainly last season, you got your money's worth out of them last season.
Well, see, I actually think that a lot of non-IT players get Grens and max Grens, and they're just,
I can tell you.
Bases.
I can tell you from experience with my Meerkat account, obviously sits at 3 ER all season long, and collects in gold, that whenever there's Grens before 4 ER, come the end of week 2, that's all you get hit by, which makes winning really easy because you're still doing like a smoky heavy rush hit and they're doing Grens. So it makes picking the chests up really easy, but it is a bit, but I can understand why people do it, because not everybody aspires to get to diamond in the first week. Some people just play it for a bit of entertainment and a bit of fun. It's all about what works at the time. Every troop can be good, just depends on early season. End meta will always be the same. Yeah, pretty much spot on.
A lot of Chinese players get Grins in dirtier seasons. They go straight for them just because they know it's like an auto full clear. So I mean, they do have their moment, but Grins are kind of like tanks. They're there, but you don't really want them.
Well, I mean, let's just face this. Like last season, Grens were good because I don't think anyone had RLs yet. I don't think you could have RLs yet. So, but a season like this, I mean, if you're going to think that Grens are going to, be the ticket to diamond like they were last season for some people, they're not. So.
No, definitely not.
So Falcor's just said, watching Grens drink and throw grenades all over the place, except at the ER, is the perfect time to uninstall. Falcor, for you, the perfect time to uninstall is when the sun rises, is it not?
I like how Cobra Bombers come in just to see how what Falcor's YouTube name is. Not here to
contribute or
hit
to
the
join
like button.
in, or
Yeah, or contribute, or two representatives from a two warships task force. That's fine, Cobra.
He's here supporting though. That's he's here contributing,
Yeah,
so that's the main thing. It all helps. No, Pete, this is definitely not a Gren season. I mean, it's another key. Grens are another key vacuum in this vacuumous vacuum of vacuums this season.
Yeah, with all the gaps, I mean, maybe they can throw over the gaps. You never say never, but probably never. At least this
more
season.
like throw into the gaps.
Yeah, so actually,
Yeah.
there's a question. There's a question, isn't it? Pete's just put, looks like early meta will be old school HC or rush to rocket choppers. Interesting tree. So we, before you joined, we were sort of saying, Polly and I were, Jess and I were saying that we felt like rushing to Gramps was probably the play moving forward. Polly says that he's going rocket choppers and he's going to skip the Gramps. He's going to go back for the GBE. And then push forward, pick the critters up before moving on.
I'm full on going Airwolf.
What is your Pete? What are your thoughts regarding rocket choppers without TD? Because obviously, we know what you're like with the old Airwolf, and that was something that we were a bit unsure of, but.
It's honestly just really hard to tell people to go RCs. Like Polly, myself, Pete, Alfredo's one who's really good with rocket choppers. And not everybody can be, because a lot of people are very skilled in their hits. But with rocket choppers, you got to take some of the skill out of it. You just got to herd the damn things and just push forward and be aggressive. And some people can't just do that with their hits. So it's hard. You have to know who you're talking to and if they can actually do that, because some people just can't be aggressive. That's not a bad thing. It's just rocket choppers aren't for them then. You have to be aggressive and kind of hurt them, and some people can't do it.
So I think it's somewhat hard to teach RCs. I know I've taught a few of join our own risk task force players the way sort of thing, but it's very hard because each hit is very different to your last hit. It's not a very sometimes consistent hit. Sometimes you can let you herd your RCs up and you're shocking a boom cannon and a cannon, but it's one of those things that if you don't shock it early enough and the boom cannon or a cannon has locked onto an RC, you're losing an RC. And then sometimes it's good to to flare an actual defense as opposed to flaring the ground, because you really just need that defense to go. So, but it's all about really timing everything to a T, and it sort of does make it fun, because you really have to be on guard all time when using the hits. And if it does go off, if everything does go to plan, it is actually a very good hit. But it's one of those things that it's sort of hard to coach. It's sometimes you go on a lot of instinct, and it's one of those things that, and I've done it so many times. I've shocked something and I've gone, oh man, my RCs aren't going to get there on time, and it's just like, okay, what do I do? Do I flare? And it's just like sometimes you sacrifice an RC. I think this season, the troop damage is gonna, the lack of troop damage when you get the RCs. That's where it's going to be like, okay, I'm going to have to keep hurting them up, and that might hurt me. But, I'm fully committed to it, and that's just me. So, but yeah, diddles are definitely going to be powerful this season as well.
Yeah, I think I'm just eager to kind of finish the, we all have this hypothesis about lasers versus bombers versus RCs. We've had the really high TD seasons since lasers came out, but we haven't had a balanced season or, a season that even favors BH since lasers came out. I'm kind of eager to finish the test, kind of see how lasers are affected when it's even across the board, 100, 100, 100. If they're still as powerful as they would be, which I doubt they will be, but I'm interested. That's one of the things I'll be looking for as a whole as this season progresses, is how the lasers do, in a balanced season. And I think that'll tell us a lot about them as a meta troop going forward in future season.
So yeah, Pete just saying in the chat. Pete just saying in the chat, oh yeah, like Pollington said, you have to be thinking 5 moves ahead to be good with the rocket choppers. But once you get good at that and you can adapt on the fly, that's about all there is to them.
Well, it's just the reaction time has to be so quick that it's hard to teach it to somebody, because by the time you say it, they should have already done it.
It's too late. Yeah, 100%.
So it's just hard to teach.
It's honestly about as well, critters. You can throw critters, but knowing when to throw the critters is vital too, because they seem to go that far up in the air that it takes like forever for the critters to actually land, and then for the cannon to turn around and target it. So it's like, you really do have to plan ahead. And then that's where I say, if you guys want to commit to the RC plan, be prepared to get that GBE node, because you're going to need it. Throwing 2 shocks might need to be required just because of the lack of TD. So, it's like one of those things. I think this season it's going to be a very good shake-up, because I honestly think that there is 3 viable metas here, in the midpoint of the season. So it will make for a very interesting tree. And something
these
else
3 here,
worth
you mean?
mentioning. Something else worth mentioning is Sparky is going to hack a critter if it is in front, or if Sparky is about to kill a critter from the critter launcher. It will actually hack the critter as opposed to a building. So that's something that...
that's a big waste of GBE if she hacks a critter.
Yep.
And then if she hacks a second critter, that's another massive waste. So it's, maybe a critter swarm might be a better option.
Well, if you're heavy full clearing at the beginning, Spark might be OP just for that remote hack, just to get the buildings down faster and faster and faster. I think there's pros and cons to it, but yeah, definitely. If critters abound, you're spending 8 or 15 GB for a critter.
So
it's kind of sad.
Newbies just said, for lasers you'll need to get Kavan, whilst rocket choppers and bombers can be played just fine with Sparky, which is another good point. There's 42 keys saved there in the push forward, and Gren's also, Gren's just pointing out that there's so little defences versus the rocket choppers at the start, you won't even need shocks. That's what we were saying, I think it might have been before you joined us, Gren's, that with the boom cannon here being just slightly off path, if people rushing rocket choppers probably won't be facing boom cannons. The worst they're going to be facing is going to be 5 maxed cannons, because I really don't see anybody wasting time with this node unless Chicken decides to open it accidentally, and there's not a cannon on this one.
Accidentally on purpose.
Well, we'll never know, but five cannons is about as strong as it's going to get, isn't it? Sniper towers, well,
I think maybe everybody will get BCs before they go forward. I mean, it's slightly off path. I think people will go straight for BCs and up to RLs and around. I think they're just so powerful that you don't think most people...
Well, see, the good thing about I wouldn't say, well, I don't know if I say, but the thing with my whole committing to RC plan is, even though I'm like saying, yeah, I'm 100% committing, I'm not actually going off path anywhere to get stuff, for my RCs. It's not like the GBE is, behind tanks or anything like that. So if RCs do become a fail, I can just quickly divert it back to diddles. But I'm somewhat confident of getting, the RCs to work. I do think the critters above 5ER are a huge... I think they're actually going to be huge this season. as we say, getting scorches. I mean, I think only Tiago is going to be the one that's going to be putting tokens into them. But getting critters, to critter out an ER or to clear a path for your diddles, is going to be huge. But I'm just going to be using them to distract a boom cannon or a cannon. So,
I mean, when you look at it, when you look at it, the 5ER tech is pretty much all one massive key vacuum, with the exception of one, probably two nodes.
I'm just going straight top path to 6. I'm just going to forget 5 even existed and just keep going forward. But on another note, Sparky. Do not upgrade Sparky. Sparky is not like Brick or Cravan, where she gets better as you upgrade her. She's pretty much the same. She's going to be at tick 1. I mean, yes, she'll put out a few more critters and maybe a little bit more on the critter swarm. But Sparky is like almost, I think she is more expensive than Bullet. Like, she's really expensive to upgrade. And I just don't think the value is there in upgrading her like it would have been for Brick and, the abilities that Brick has where they get better. I just don't know that it makes that much of a difference with Spark. So just be cautious.
Critter launches the day 1 meta, Pete.
Pete just saying.
Go. I think that basically that with the nerf of them, shooting out now every 2 seconds, I think, and the critters from Sparky are going to be able to handle the critters. So then the diddles are probably going to lock onto the critter launchers. I think they're still going to have a bit of a say, but I think you can just shock the critter launcher and you just move on. Even, with RCs and bombers, because it's going to be 2-shot. The diddle's going to be able to, as soon as it locks onto the critter launcher, it's going to go down pretty quickly. So I think that's where you're going to realize the nerf, really.
And I think I think that's the thing that, like we were saying, when you've got a small deck, a confined deck, and you've got 3 critter launchers pumping out three critters a second, even heavies become overwhelmed. Whereas now these decks, where they're kind of a bit more spread out and a bit more all over the place, I think you'll see the critter launchers dotted around here and there. They're only going to be chucking out 1 critter every 2 seconds. So that's really all anyone's going to be dealing with, is 1 critter every 2 seconds. I think if you throw a boat of lasers in there as well, so maybe two rifles or 2 heavies, 3-4 boats of bombers and 1 boat of lasers, those lasers will just toast the odd critter that's sort of hanging around, especially with Sparky's critters running around the deck as well.
Jeez, Pete, you really are behind this scene.
You haven't seen the decks yet?
Okay.
Just for you, Pete. Just for you.
I think the thing with lasers, when they nerfed them, they should have just nerfed the beam extension as opposed to nerfing like the level.
3ER with the 2ER and 3ER are the same, but with this bit up the side. 4ER coming up. 4ER just continues up round the side, sort of further here, but with the second ramp. 5ER connects this front bit to the back bit with this area here and the 2 ramps. 6ER is like a piece of Swiss. 6ER is like a piece of Swiss cheese. And 7ER is just filled in 1 gap, so you've got a bit more space. Where have you been? Under a rock for the last? Been busy in this. The Enya track. Top. To be fair, that is top work on that Enya track. I do like a bit of Enya, and that is, you've done the business there. Well done. Available in the store.
Yeah, I can expect Pete to just say, "Get it in ya."
No, I love what he's done with that. Love a bit of chilled out Enya, but put that sort of trance vibe on it as well, and it's okay. This also makes critter launches.
We all about to sit in a circle and light up for a minute. I mean, what's going on?
Yeah. Oh no, we can't. I can't.
No,
I'm
I'm
on
at
a
work.
yeah, no, and we're on a Supercell endorsed creator thing, so
Oh yeah, that's that.
can't
Oh,
can't
that
do
thing.
can't go down that road. Okay, this makes critter launches a disadvantage. Just the locations alone. I'm on the bomber track. Yeah, that's what I was sort of saying a minute ago. You look at the 5ER deck, and they're gonna, there's gonna be one over here and one over here and one over here, say, and when they're only popping out one critter every 2 seconds, that ain't gonna bother the bombers. Not if you've got, heavies, rifles up front, maybe even a pack of like I say, a box of lasers could go in as well. So yeah, well, that's why we're kind of talking about bombers, because I believe that bombers we all believe that bombers are quite viable this season. It's just that Polly's gonna be going or at least gonna have a good crack with the rocket choppers, but like you said, if they don't work out, then he's only one. It's literally just a node next door for the bombers. We've all got to get the rocket choppers anyway in order to get to 5ER, so you might as well give it a go. Raz, what's up, Martin,
Mr.
Pete,
Olsen.
and everybody? What's up, Raz? How you doing? Mr. Olsen in the
Welcome,
chat
Mr.
there.
Olsen.
I will listen on this now afterwards. Yeah, we've been going for a little while now, talking for an hour and a half. Yeah, so I mean, I think we pretty much covered the tree. Does anyone need to know where they start, where they want to start, how they're going to start with the calculator and the, obviously there's many tools available now to help us plan. Rocket choppers wild card, but the lack of TD is going to really hamper them. Multiple attack vectors with bombers and taking out critter launchers if needed is going to be faster. Try meta that with Seekers, and yeah, it's the end game. Yeah, so I mean, the only thing with Seekers is that they're tucked. Oh, no, they're on the path, aren't they?
No,
Sorry, yeah,
everyone has to get Seekers.
Yeah, everyone has to get Seekers.
I think it's gonna be Seekers are gonna be used to take out 2 ERs maybe, or 1 ER that's sort of the furthest away from the bulk of the the other ERs. So and that's where I think the 100 troop health is going to come in on its own. You can just drop 2 boats of Seekers, clear mines, and forget about them, and then manage your hit on the other side of the layout.
Fez, you are in exactly the place that you need to be to get the most out of your season. That's all I can tell you. This you are
is
where
Fez in the collective?
Yeah, we've got Fez in there. Yeah, this season. So yeah, we've got you in there this season, and we will do you right. And if you don't make it this season, you'll be in the prime position by the end of this season to make the most of it next season. I promise you. Definitely going to play one account rush to rocket choppers though. Day one viability.
You just got to trust in the process, Fez.
Yeah.
Trust in the process.
But Andrew's saying, what's my start on the calculator? So I'm going to want that there. Just calling it up. Mamma mia.
Here we go. Technical difficulties number 2.
And then...
Well, what rank did she finish at?
I finished 24.5. I'm not sure what...
She's done her part.
Havocs. No, it's not. It's a 3-week season. I know I know on a calendar it will look like a 4-week season. But it's not. It's a 3-week season. I want that one. Okay, it's a 3-week season. So the season will end. Oh, I need a calendar quickly. It's because Friday is the 30th. That won't be crab weekend. The weekend before will be crab. You didn't plan yours yet, Martin. Yeah, no, I did. So yeah, this week's three
Great,
season.
I hope you're not.
This week's 3 season, next week's 4 season. So yeah, this is my. So I had up a blank calculator to do any calculations that people wanted done on. Mine saved on a separate one. I just saved rather than. So yeah, this is kind of where I've looked at going. So we need to take some of this out because I haven't. So Zukas, that will be as far as I will be going. What have I done? Oh, I was messing around with somebody. 24.54. I need to put it back to. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing to critter launchers. That will leave me 98. Well, no, it won't because I won't have collected those yet. Critter launchers will leave me 6 keys, and then on the assumption that these are these are irons. Hopefully we won't need Zukas or Sky Shield. If that's the case, then I will be going Everspark and then saving for 4ER. Obviously that's starting in 14. So if that can get me to 16 without anything else, then I can go 4ER straight away. The chances are I'm going to need either the Sky Shield or Zukas. So let's just add the Sky Shield in there. And that gets me to 16. Then
Raz's
I'm only
comment
one.
is hilarious.
I'm only one chest, first time chest away from being able to go 4ER tomorrow. So that's kind of my loosely my plan. Like I say, get to like we've said, get to critter launchers, and then just sort of sit on it and see how things are developing. So that's my plan, Andrew. Andrew, send your plans. Raz, so who has used RCs with no % troop damage and 50% troop health, building health? Did you manage to get off the beach at least? Grens, whatever plans I have changed 30 minutes later. yeah, you're right there. I did mine last night like a good little worshipper. If I actually get up at 3 a.m. for the start, Supercell should give me 3 diamonds. Yeah, and if they do give you 3 diamonds, you got a little box for them. Just steal it. Oh no, that's 3 keys and tokens. You still got a little box for them.
If you saw the amount of diamonds Andrea actually has, she doesn't need 3 diamonds. She has like over 30,000.
Does she not change?
Well, yeah, no, she doesn't like to change. But she's, I don't know. She was obviously mad into operations, so I think this is like her 4th season into warships.
So yeah, Havox just saying the good thing about living in the UK is the 8 a.m. start. Yes, it is. You're right, it is. But what you've got to remember is that all we get on day 1 is 1 more chest. Where these boys stateside get up at stupid o'clock in the morning, this chest, so they will open theirs. What time do you open your first chest, Jess? It's about 03:30, isn't it?
I mean, I don't go to sleep. I'm a heavy sleeper, so if I go to sleep, my ass isn't getting up. So I open mine at 2 a.m. when I'm traveling. So like in the morning, I'll open it at my first chest at 2 a.m. Then it's 10 a.m. and then it's 6 p.m.
So yeah, this is just what I wanted to show. So when these guys, say it's 2:15 because your season starts at 2 a.m. So they then get 2 chests on a Monday. So when we're going to bed Monday evening having only picked up 1 chest, they're going to bed having picked up 2 chests. So it kind of it's all
Well, then
it's all
and
swings
then
and
you try to put the
roundabouts.
You put the Australian time zone in when we get our
Yeah,
first chest at 7 p.m. So season starts for us 7 p.m. on a Monday.
on
Um,
the Monday still.
yeah, so you've done a full day of work. You're sitting down having dinner. You're playing warships, and then you go to bed, and then you wake up. Obviously, the first time chest is, I believe it's 3 a.m.
Yeah,
for
3:50. Yeah.
yeah.
So
So and
they
then
wake up on
you
the
wake up.
Tuesday.
We wake up on the Tuesday, and all the Americans have picked up that first time chest, and 9 times out of 10 they've managed to collect it in gold, and then, well, you're behind. You're trying to chase your tail. So, yeah, it does. I would hate to
But
get
then
up so
it
early to
all
start my season off.
changes. It all changes at this end of the season, because obviously your season doesn't finish until what, 11 o'clock,
It finishes
11 a.m.
it finishes Monday at 7 p.m. But basically it
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
really change much because you obviously ideally like to park on the Sunday sort of
Oh
thing.
yeah.
So
But what I'm so you effectively get like Monday to play out your warships, don't you?
yeah, yeah,
So if I
yeah.
put my start time back in here now, which would be 08:30. Oh God, what's it done there?
That's a different
I
number.
actually prefer my time because I
3702.
prefer it just for the way I play. Like
Yeah, I mean it's
I typically play twice a day, so I normally play at like 10 or 11 a.m. and then once I'm in, I'm normally playing between like 6 and 7 p.m. and that's normally when most people are playing because it's chess times, and so I actually really enjoy those two times. And not just that, I'm typically parked before the end of the season matters anyway. So the end of the season isn't,
so if you look at
in the time
Oh,
crunch for me.
oh yeah, I see what you mean.
so
I see what you mean.
we get effectively our last chest is 4:30 on a Sunday afternoon. If you stay up and you get your actual last chest, well, it's too late to push with it anyway. And you wouldn't believe the amount of times that I've picked up a last chest, done a last push, pushed myself to global 350, 370, 410, woken up Monday morning and found out that I've missed out on top by 500 by anywhere between 1 and 10 stars.
Yeah,
The amount of time, if I could be awake through till the season ends, however that be, wherever in the world that be, I would probably have at least 10 more top 500 finishes than I've currently got, because you just get to monitor it as it kind of just need one more win, jump back in.
yeah.
Well, the
But
problem with me is I have to stay up all night. And then once the season starts, I mean, I'm typically into gold rather quickly. So, like, first 30, 45 minutes, I'm into gold. And then I'll go back to bed. And it'll be a completely damn different game when I wake up, And so
Yeah.
that's why I almost hate the time that I start. But if I stay up all the way through, then I'm typically in a different position. Me and Pete normally have to be rolling with some creative meta base or something for me to stay up the whole time. But if not, I'm so exhausted that I just like pass out for 4 hours.
Hinker's nailed it. It doesn't matter what the start time is, someone will complain about it. You just can't please everybody in the world at the same time. For me, the right thing to do is to make the starting chests 3 of 4, so that you guys that
Nah, I honestly think let's just leave it because there's way too many things that could go wrong. Let's face it. Half the community could start with 4-4. They ain't gonna say nothing. Half the community starts 3-4, and yeah, let's just leave it at that.
But it isn't going to change. The way it is, and
I just love reading when people don't actually know their own start time. Like, the easiest way to do it is go into the game and look at, you know, the bottom warships icon and then just do some simple calculations.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, looking at you, Andrew.
Sometimes
no,
it's
it just
easier just for people to ask, isn't it?
I mean, hopefully, Supercell seems to have turned a leaf lately, and they're adding more content to the game, and they're seeming to try. I just hope it's not too little, too late, because with the server split, the queue times have been miserable. Especially being in a warships task force. I know Polly and his group are in a warships task force, and then us being in Sugar Ship. Like you can really tell. Like I can look at somebody else's like battles that's playing at the same time as me, and every person they're playing is from my task force. So, and then when Polly's task force is pushing, I think I face all of them in order, and so it's just like we need more people playing, and it's not just more people playing; it's the people that are already playing that as a community, we need to help them get better. So then we have more talent to face. I mean, we just need to keep raising the bar for everybody so that the game keeps moving forward. Because the server split definitely hurt us for queue times and people's excitement to actually battle.
So yeah, I mean, has anyone got anything they want run through the calculator? Or I mean, I'd imagine that pretty much everyone, because it's obviously that there is the online tool now as well for those of you that can't handle or manage Excel, or don't have access to it, and then obviously there's those of you that are old school and just use a bit of chalk and a slate. Looking in your direction there, Pete. You tip of your cutlet, tip of your cutlass on the deck, don't you? Scratching your calculations. I hope that everyone is fairly set up in there. Chalk and slate is the only way to go.
I'm kind of old school. I break it down into like 3 nodes at a time, and then I just like put the number of those 3 numbers together in just different spots, so I know where I'm at in a given part of the season, like after I've calculated everything. But I'm really weird in how I break it down. So I mean, I guess everybody has their own thing. Just want to give a huge shout out to Mr. Flint, Michigan Gaming in there, just stopping in to say hi and drop a like and support. Good luck on Warships tomorrow. Cheers, Flint. Good luck yourself. I think we only faced once last season and we drew. So,
amazing.
Yeah, funny story. That's how FTX kept all their records at the exchange. Axe Darby coming in with a $2 super chat. Thank you very much, Axe. Thanks all for taking your time to do this. Yeah, no, it's our pleasure, isn't it? We've had a whole whole week without warships. It's nice to get back in the driving seat.
Yeah. Family time's over. Back to the game.
You're back to looking after yourselves now, kids.
I don't know, man. I've been playing this game in Telegram in the 3.0 chat. It's the damn cube game. I got addicted to it there for like a day.
Oh, is this the one with lots of little cubes that make a big cube that you've got to push them all out in a certain order?
Yeah, man. I got hooked on it. I was fiending for that shit. I was just sitting there pressing those buttons all night. I was like, oh my god, I got to get away from it. Now I just kind of have to ignore it, or I'll just keep playing it. It's just.
It's funny you guys say that because I think about some of us that join our own. I wouldn't say half of us, but definitely about 10 have chess downloaded, and we all play each other. So it's yeah.
It's funny what everyone gets up to during the off season, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, man, if Main Island Boom Beach was that damn cube game, we'd all be playing. I mean, I'm just saying, I was that attached to it. But yeah, it's almost go time.
Yeah,
it is. And you guys keep on saying tomorrow, and I'm just like, well, no, it's today.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so, I'm not even in my home state. If I was in my home state right now, it'd only be 2 p.m. But at least where I'm at right now, it's like 4 p.m. So it's like a little bit more reasonable. So.
It's been our pleasure, Pete,
off.
and appreciate Martin extending the invite, especially to us.
It makes a little bit more sense to have people on that know what they're talking about than warships noobs who don't. I think he's gone to bed. I don't think he's watching anymore.
Yeah. He's just like, the channel's in good hands. You know what?
Yeah.
I was like, which noob are we talking about?
Yeah, no.
To like decipher it. No.
Give us a warning when you go back to
warning.
face cam. I got a shock there. Yeah, so no, I'm thinking about winding it up now. I don't think anyone's got any more questions. Charles Lill in there, well done, guys, thank you. Anyone's got any more questions or any, I think we've kind of gone over everything and covered everything as best as we can. So I think thanks for the stream, Martin. Big thanks to Jess and Polly as well. No, thank you, Hinker, for joining us.
Yep.
I think it's
Anytime.
that sort of time that we sign off and send everyone on to bed or to rest or to get some food and prepare themselves in whichever way
Start their workday.
or start their workday. Prepare themselves in whichever way you guys feel necessary to for the start of the new season. So if you'd like to say your goodbyes, Jess and Pollington.
No worries. Thank you, guys.
Go first, yes.
Thank you.
Right, Jess. Jess, you go.
Oh, no, I was just saying, thanks. If you guys need any help or anything, just give us a shout. I know Martin's Telegram is open for every single one of you that needs any question any time of the day. Martin or myself will gladly answer it. I was trying to be funny because I did that last time I was on here, and I had like 250 people message me, and I never saw them.
So you're going to send half of them my way this time?
Yeah, split it in half this time.
Right, and a goodbye from Pollington then.
Oh, I'm telling you now, this. Thanks, newbie. Honestly, Same goes pretty much what Jess said. Thanks for having me on. And like I said, again, like Jess said, basically, if anyone does need any help, I mean, Sugar Ship, I'm sure they've got spots. Join at own risk, they've got spots. But the collective, where that's going great guns. And I'll definitely try to be on call for a little bit more of Martin's streams. I know that he's going to try to start streaming at least 2 to 3 times a week, I believe.
Yeah. I'm going to be putting in more streams, and I'm hoping to be able to bring either Jess on or Polly on, or maybe even Cobra, or if I could twist his. No, probably won't get Stone on. He's too busy up there on the throne, Warship's throne, isn't he? But yeah, to have somebody on with me each evening that I'm doing it.
Yeah, someone that actually understands warships as opposed to Aaron.
Andrew, you're more than welcome to come and join us on chat. I'm quite happy to bring anybody on to chat, to be honest. Mike, if you want to join, then you're welcome. Mr. Poing, although I know you don't like speaking. Hinker,
Mr. Poing likes speaking to me.
Just me then.
No.
Grens, Hinker, anyone, Axe, anyone, if you want to come on, just hit me up. The only thing that I won't be able to do is have like 3, 4, 5 people on at once, because then it just gets too much chaos. Yeah, and it gets too much chaos for people watching to try and kind of listen. I think 3 is probably the limit, and then whoever's playing can just get on and play, and the other 2 can chat between them. But yeah, I'd sort of try and make it bring a bit more entertainment back, and so that's the plan for this season. So that's the plan for this season.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna try and make more content too. I'm not that guy. I feel bad to make like a video like every day in a row, saying basically the same thing. If I do make a video, I like for it to be different and new and fun, and doing something different than I was doing in the last video. So
to have a point and a purpose.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, no, thanks for having us on, and anytime you're free, I'm down.
Cool. Chat is my middle name, says Andrew. Yeah, well, I say hit me up, Telegram, whatever, and we'll sort that out for next season. But for this particular episode, it is time to say goodnight. So, guys, remember, don't do anything I wouldn't do. If you do, don't get caught. But if you get caught, you don't know me. All right, guys, good night.
See ya.
Later.